Welcome to the Gospel Road. Today we are looking at Titus 3. And I know I've been doing these for a while. And over the years, I've had some soapboxes. Maybe I've even gotten a little political. And at times, religious. I mean, it is the Gospel Road. So, I mean, just with using gospel, you kind of assume that. But I mean, that's not always the way that I'm going, because the biggest part of this is just the encouragement as we're going down that road, that path, that journey that we are living to keep pressing forward, to move forward, to be better, to help others be better. And we're at a point right now, again, and I've said this before, I don't know that anything that we're seeing right now is new. Sometimes I think it just takes a different form on how we're seeing things and how things are being done. You know, I always say that we have not changed much in 2,000 years, 1,500 years. You know, we're dealing with the same situations, just getting there quicker, faster. You know, social media, internet. We can see things. We can spout things by the touch of our thumbs. We have people doing podcasts that can share whatever their opinion is. You have, you know, YouTube and TikTok where people can do videos and share their opinion and just blast everybody and kick them in the nuts just because they can. Because they feel they need to spout. They feel they need to tear people down. They feel that they need to shame others. I think we've all had managers like that. We've worked at businesses, companies like that. You don't feel good. You either get beat down and deal with it, or you move on, you find another job. Problem is, unless you end up leaving social media, there's no just getting away. Which I know some people that have done that. They've gotten off of social media 100%. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to see the arguments. They don't want to see or hear all the garbage that's happening. And right now, there's a lot of garbage happening. Because we are so segregated, separated. You know, torn apart, divided. And I don't know that I see a silver lining yet. That is the unfortunate part. Because normally when something happens, you see where there can be an end. You see where there can be a silver lining, but we're not seeing that. In fact, we're seeing more and more things getting shoved down our throat, beaten over our heads. Like I said, it's frustrating. It's creating fear. And at this point, we're not talking fear of the virus. We're talking fear of jobs, which we had about a year ago, right? Year and a half? Losing jobs because of the pandemic, places closing and letting people go because they couldn't pay for it. There's times that, you know, the Bible talks about us being submissive. But I think we need to be cautious. We need to be careful. Because I'm not sure, and again, I'm not God. But I'm pretty sure that when they're talking about being submissive, when the Bible tells us to be submissive, respectful, honor. It's not to do things against us. The Old Testament, talking about new rulers coming in and then changing who the God is that you worship. Well, I don't know that that's being submissive in the way that the Bible talks about. I think there's a line, a moral line, an ethical line that we need to be careful with, because it's being submissive to the extent of something that can harm us personally, physically, mentally, spiritually. A harm that can come upon us due to that submission. I am not sure, again, I'm not God. This is just personal thought, personal feeling, that's not how far we need to go submissively. Again, we are so separated. I see things every day right now in my world, media, of the separation, of the, you could almost say war. We're just not killing each other over it yet. Sometimes you wonder the way people are posting things and saying things on social media. But we need to be respectful. We need to be respectful of others' opinions, feelings, thoughts. Yes, truth should come out, and I've said this many times, to trust but verify. Here's the information, but verify the information that's being given to you. Is it right? Is it wrong? Does it work with you? Morally, ethically? Can you honestly do what is being asked, being told, without it causing regret, hurt, grievance? These are important things that need to be thought about, because the reality is, I might not see you in a year, my manager in a year. I have to live with me the rest of my life. I have to be able to get up every morning and look at myself in the mirror and know what good I had done, that I can deal with, I can accept. I guess right now I just get so frustrated seeing all of the garbage that's out there. The name calling. I mean, are we children? Because you're certainly acting like it. I should say we, because I'm sure there's days that I do too. I'm probably acting like a child today. Throwing my little temper tantrum. And you're going, But my temper tantrum is, I'm tired of your temper tantrum that I see every day. It's exhausting. No wonder why people are not watching the news anymore, because number one, you can't trust the information that's being given to you. And in many ways, it's so much work to watch the news, because to watch the news, you got to watch multiple news sources, read multiple news sources to hopefully, maybe, get a little piece of the truth that you can somehow puzzle together to be able to give yourself an informed decision. It's a lot of work today. Now, 1,000 years ago, we didn't have the convenience of news sources. It was all word of mouth. So, as confusing as it is today, think about confusing then. Especially when you're dealing with the grapevine of delivery. We've all played grapevine. You know, you start with one person, you have a big circle, you tell one person one thing, they pass it to the next, they pass it to the next, and by the time you get back to the first person, it's not even near what that first word was, that first conversation was, that first statement that was shared. Because people are not always hearing what they need to hear. They hear what they want to hear, but not what they need to hear. And I'm hoping over the years that this has helped you to sit there and go, wait, I need to stop. I need to think. I need that information to be able to make that informed opinion, that informed decision, that I'm not doing this straight off emotion. Sometimes not even straight off of logic, because they kind of need to work together. Not one being stronger than the other, because sometimes it could be the logical decision, but does not mean it's the right decision. I was actually had a meeting yesterday morning. I was talking with a friend, and we were having this rapport about the way a company is acting, and sometimes, as he said, he goes, the correct decision is not always the right decision. It makes sense, but maybe not so much. I know sometimes it's hard to think about. It's hard to realize. But that's the world that we're in, because we're dealing with everyone, even though we are all individuals. And we needed to be treated as an individual. That's not how the world works. We're treated as common, the mass, all of us together. What happens to one happens to everyone. The way we treat one, we treat everybody the same. And that doesn't always work that way. And we all fail. I fail at that. Because I'm not saying that it's easy. And the world we live in is certainly not making it easier. In fact, it's making it harder. And I, again, can step out and go, I'm not sure that it's any harder now than what it was 100 years ago. But I didn't live 100 years ago. I only know what I've read or learned in history. All I know of is what I know now. And seeing what I see now. And trying to figure now out. Anyway, Titus 3. It says, remind them to be submissive to rulers and authorities, to be obedient and to be ready for every good work, to speak evil of no one, to avoid quarreling, to be gentle and to show perfect courtesy toward all people. For we ourselves, we're once foolish, disobedient, led astray, slaves to various passions and pleasures, passing our days in malice and envy, hated by others and hating one another. But when the goodness and loving kindness of God our Savior appeared, he saved us. Not because of works done by us in righteousness, but according to his own mercy by the washing of regeneration and renewal of the Holy Spirit, whom he poured out on us richly through Jesus Christ our Savior, so that being justified by his grace, we might become heirs according to the hope of eternal life. The saying is trustworthy, and I want you to insist on these things so that those who have believed in God may be careful to devote themselves to good works. These things are excellent and profitable for people, but avoid foolish controversies, genealogies, dissensions, and quarrels about the law, for they are unprofitable and worthless. As for a person who stirs up division, after warning him once and then twice, have nothing more to do with him, knowing that such a person is warped, and sinful. He is self-condemned. When I send Artemas or Titus to you, do your best to come to me at Nicopolis, for I have decided to spend the winter there. Do your best to speed Zenas the lawyer and Apollos on their way. See that they lack nothing. And let our people learn to devote themselves to good works, so as to help causes of urgent need, and not be unfruitful. All who are with me send greetings to you. Greet those who love us in the faith. Grace be with you all. Titus 3. That is what we're looking at today. Foolish, disobedient, led astray. Submissive, obedient, good work. Speak evil of no one. Yeah, we see that so much right now. Speaking evil of no one. Yeah. No. How many words can I call you? Because I can. Really? I mean, has this really turned into my dad can beat up your dad? Yeah, I'm serious. Has this turned into mommy and daddy jokes? Your mom is so fat. Quarreling, avoid quarreling. Are we seeing avoidance of quarreling? No, because I'm kind of quarreling right now with myself. I'm going to give myself a black eye. Being gentle. Are we being gentle? Are we showing courtesy to all people, those that we agree and disagree with? Courtesy, respect. Is that being shown today? Has it ever been shown? Again, I wasn't here. I wasn't around 100 years ago. I wasn't around 1,000 years ago. You know, I'm not beating Methuselah, who, lived, 900 plus years. But how are we treating one another? Are we sharing kindness? Are we sharing love? I was looking at social media this past week for show prep for me with one of my weekend shows, and a couple things ran across. One was this meme, and I don't know if I'm going to get it 100%, but it was saying, basically, why is our country so messed up? And it's saying you can't please 330 billion kings, but you could please 330 servants. The question is, are you acting as a king every day, or are you being a servant? Are you serving one another? Are you helping out someone? Are you being kind? Or are you being entitled? Are you being a king? It's all about you. I mean, it's a great thing. I know when I read that, I sat there and I went, what have I done this week? What have I done the last month? It was a great piece of holding accountability to myself. There was another story about a Spanish tennis player. I believe it's a Rafael Nepal. I believe that's how you say his last name. I might have got it wrong, and I apologize if I did. But there was a gentleman, he's 97, if I remember right. He is the oldest active tennis player. I mean, we're talking Guinness Book of World Records. He holds the record. And the tennis pro has a academy. So he invited this gentleman to the academy. At the academy, he ran into Raphael and he asked, Raphael, would you play a point with me? That's how he said it, basically play a game. Would you play a point with me? Raphael, he could have said no. I don't have time. I got to go here. I've got something I got to do. But he didn't. Raphael took the time and played a point with him. Not saying it was on his bucket list, but just think of how that made him feel because he took the time. He was generous with his time for him. He was being kind to give him the opportunity. When was the last time we did something like that? We need to be ready for those good works. We need to be ready to do something good. I'm not saying it's got to be great, but good. Every day. I always say to learn something new, well, how about also just be kind? Open a door. Say hello. Share a smile. Doesn't have to be big. We're not talking huge things here. It's small little things. And in the world that I'm seeing, oh my, we need it. And I'm sure they have had it, needed it forever, but I know I need it. Just because what I'm seeing and dealing with every day, I need it. I need to see it. I need to feel it. Because we know how that negativity sticks around. You could have 10 people say great things to you in a row. One person comes up and says something negative to you, and all that previous positivity is gone because the negativity sticks in your head. That negative comment is right there. It's staring you in the face. And I know because I deal with that way too much. I mean, there's some people that are just trying to kick you, keep you down. There's haters out there. I know I have people that hate me because I'm not perfect. I have failed. I have ticked people off. And I'm going to guarantee that I'm probably not going to stop. I'm not trying to. I'm not meaning to. It just happens. Because it's life. How are we going to deal with that? What are we going to do? One thing that we can do for ourselves is, I was hearing about this, and there was an old school way of doing this years ago, and it was called a feel-good folder. We're talking an actual folder, manila folder. You got a letter, you got an email, something was said, you print it off. Yeah, this is even before text messaging. So there was no text to print off, but received a letter, you got something, you would print it off, you put it in this feel-good folder, and you would always have that. So when you had that bad day, you can open it up. But the way I heard about it is making a folder on your computer, on your desktop. Again, same thing, saving all those good things, which you could probably figure out how to do text messages that have been said nice things to you, sending it to yourself to put in there, saving the emails, saving the letters, but putting it all in there. You could do this at work, you could do this at home, and when you're having those hard days, you open that feel-good folder, that you are worth it folder, that you are worthy folder, and see all that positive feedback that you've received, to try and push away that negative. It just gives you a tool to help you get through that day, that week, that chapter, that piece of life. Do not be the person stirring up the division. Do not be the person who's being foolish, causing dissension, starting quarrels. Because you're not wanting to self-condemn yourself. There's enough people out there that are doing that. And I don't want them to do it. I want them to be better. I want them to show courtesy toward all people. But of course, that doesn't get the ratings. That doesn't get people to listen to you, to read your article. Be better. Be better today than you were yesterday. Be better tomorrow than today. Titus 3, read that. How does it help you to grow, to be that better person in all aspects of your life, to helping you grow mentally, physically, and spiritually? To hold yourself accountable, to motivate, inspire, encourage yourself. I've got friends who, I want to go to the gym. I need to be encouraged. And what am I looking for? I do. I go to the gym, attempt to go 5 days a week. I did that very good for a while, and now suddenly life is getting in the way. Last week I was only able to make it 4 times. But the thing is, for me, I find the motivation within myself. I got to kind of like self-motivated. But then I've gotten to a point that there is a guy that goes to the gym about the same time every day. So what holds me accountable is that, I need to see him. I knew he was going to be there around X time. I need to be there. It's kind of a goofy way to create accountability. But it pushes me to be there. To get to the gym every day. That little goal. Just so I'm able to say, hey, hi, how's it going? But I'm using that as a motivational tool. Now, is he always there? No. Because again, life gets in the way. We've had that conversation. But that's what I do for me. Because that's what I need to do for me to help me get to the gym. Also, the other nice thing is about the time that he goes, when I go, the gym's not real busy either. Because I'm not really big on the whole crowd situation. And I'm going to say this now, it has nothing to do with the pandemic. I'm just not a big crowd person. And all I can chalk that up to is all the years of, being a sardine in a bar going to a concert. And you can't even get around. It takes you 30 minutes to get from one side of the bar to the other just because, you need something to drink. And then when you're done, you get back to your chair. By the time you're back to the chair, the drink's gone. So now you're trying to, it's just a constant fight to get somewhere. Just so much noise. As I'm getting older, I'm finding out that I'm enjoying the quiet, the solitude. I'm not saying I don't like to talk to people, be around people. There are days, but there is that noise happening around me that I need to be aware of. And we haven't a lot of noise happening in our lives anymore. These concerts that I'm talking about, these are like 20 years ago. There wasn't as much noise in our lives back then as what there is now. We had flip phones. We didn't have smartphones. We didn't have texting. Sort of, kind of, maybe we had T9, but not everybody used it like they do now. It was a different time, as now is a different time. And we read studies, we read research of how people are looking for the silence. They want to be unplugged. They want to be disconnected because we are so connected today. Titus 3. Read that. How does it help you be stronger, be better? And if you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to share it with others on social media. You can also find me on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, My Buddy Jimmy, and then on YouTube at My Buddy Jimmy 101, as well as my website, mybuddyjimmy.com. It's where I share pretty much all of my podcasts, vlogs that I do, different things, my Word of the Days and my Daily Planets, which I did a new Daily Planet last week of Halloween facts, stories, old stories that I share on Storytime. And of course, even with this one, I do like some Bible stories that I read through. And I know they're not great, but I'm not doing things for greatness. I'm doing them because I just feel the need to do it. Number one, it helps me. I do it because it helps me, because it helps practice. Because I always remember that practice. The first 3 rules of radio. Actually, it's funny. I've heard it 3 ways. It's the first rule of radio is practice, or the first 3 rules is practice. Always depended on who was giving the lecture that day. But if you enjoyed this podcast or any of my podcasts, be sure to give me a rating on your platform that you're listening on. I would appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening. So much noise out there, so much going on, so much fighting going on out there. I was just watching a couple videos and how people just want to argue. Don't argue. Get the information, but don't be quarrelsome with it. Be informed. Thank you for listening to The Gospel Road. Have a great day. God bless.
Spinal adjustments provided by Dr. Chad Rolfson. The Spinal Tuning Chiropractic Center is a Des Moines area low flat fee per month unlimited chiropractic care practice. When life happens, just adjust. Schedule today at spinaltuning.com.
Barbecue provided by Kenny's Rib Wagon, catering ribs for your pleasure and serving daily at Plaza Pub, 62nd and Douglas in Des Moines, across from Merle Hay Mall. Find Kenny's Rib Wagon on Facebook.
The Jimmy Olsen Radio Network.